We get going. I'm Tero Kojo, the online community manager from Digia. If there's anything you need, it's me. Just contact me for anything. Okay, within reasonable limits. TE Kojo on the IRC channel. That's me. A few words on practicalities. And did I already say welcome to everybody? It's great to have you here. And I'm sure we'll have an excellent 2 days of sessions and workshops for you. Well, actually, more you people will create the sessions and workshops like you've done up to this. So, first, I guess the most important thing, Wi-Fi. Because that will be under the biggest stress. It's EstrelNet, the SSID, and it uses this normal, you open a browser and you need to log in. So you basically put in the username as Digia, and the password we were given was multi100. If it doesn't go through on the first try, try another time. And then try a third time. It might also dislike that now 100 people are doing this at the same time. The thing is, we have 250 simultaneous connections reserved for us. So if you intend to put that third device online, please don't. So try to live with a laptop and tablet or phone. Now that we've got that out of the way, the other things, lunch at 1 o'clock in the foyer over here. I basically put in lunch for 1 hour always. I know it's a bit short, but there are simply too many good sessions to have a longer lunch break. I'm sorry about that. Coffee. Today we had coffee in the beginning. There will be coffee during lunch also, but the official breaks are just before 11 and 3. It's also in the foyer here. For the evening event, I hope everybody didn't get their name tags, but got drink coupons. If you didn't, please come to the front desk in the foyer to get them. The name tags, unfortunately, are still on the way here. Seems like the German customs didn't like the name tags, so they kept them for a full day on Friday, and yesterday was a public holiday, so we'll have the name tags by lunchtime, I promise, and they'll also be right there by the registration desk. So come by during lunch and pick your name tag. And also, if somebody didn't pick up their hoodie, please come and pick that up by lunchtime also. I know the weather really isn't one for hoodies, but in the autumn you'll actually like the hoodie. Other practicalities, the room numbering, I'm sorry for that. It's slightly incontinuous. The conference center calls this location ECC3. In my opinion, it's room, no, they call it ECC2, and in my opinion, it's room 3. So when looking at the name tags of the rooms, please read carefully. What we have on the program is we have room and then the ECC number after it. So just check the program carefully. And the first thing, the sessions after this session will be held upstairs. I already mentioned this to Tiago and Tuurarne, I can't see, but anyway, it's upstairs. Because they basically need to change the room setting here so that it won't look like a classroom. It makes more sense to have round tables and a discussion. About the program, it's on the wiki. Once you get on the web, open one browser window on any device of your preference, pointing to the program. You can check what's going to happen next and where you want to be during the next hour from there. If you still want to make changes, there are free slots, I think still today and especially tomorrow. Please do so, but after that, come on IRC and ping me on the Qt Contributor Summit channel. It's not that I will change anything you've made in the changes, I just want to know what's happening and where. And basically, I'll be here. Now everybody knows my face. I'm also on IRC all the time if I don't get cut off the Wi-Fi. So please keep it down to 2 devices per person. I think that's most of the practicalities. Then one more thing, a really big thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible. So we have Digia and Basiscom, FrogLogic, Intel, Pelagicor, ICS, Canonical with the Ubuntu brand, KDAB and eGits, who've all contributed towards making this possible. So I'd say a big hands together for all the sponsors. And I guess without further ado, the reason why everybody is in this room today, Lars. Wi-Fi, yes.
Yep, thanks, Tero. I'm not sure everybody's in the room because of me here. I hope not.
It might be the air conditioning too.
It's the air conditioning that helps. As you can see, I'm also prepared for summer here. Let's go and see if I can get something working here. Hey. I actually have a few slides that I thought I'll go through with you a little bit and talk about different things. It's actually, but before that, it's great to see really so many people here for the Contributor Summit this year. I know the room's full, and it's the 4th Contributor Summit that we're having. And 3 out of those have been in Berlin. Last year was in Bilbao. And we went to a few different locations here. I think we had the Café Moscow in Berlin. We had a different place in Berlin. I don't remember its name. It was some sort of, backyard with some old building. Then we had Bilbao, the university, and now we're in a hotel. I'm not sure what that means for the next year, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, I already heard people asking for, for a pool at the hotel for next year. So we don't have one. Complain to the hotel, not to me. So yeah, let's see. I think let's start off with some of the good news that we had, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing. One of the big things that we've seen is, Qt is actually increasingly popular. We've had over 1 million downloads of the Qt 5.2 series. It's quite a lot. I'm really happy about that. But to make it better, actually 5.3 downloaded over 250,000 times in the first 7 days after the release. So, we're seeing really a huge, interest in the Qt product, and I'm really happy about that. This is something that's, you should all take as, something, you've been working on that and helping make this possible. It's a great achievement for all of us. And we have, had a survey, and some of you might have seen that at the developer days last year. We had a survey last year where we actually asked Qt users, what they think about Qt. And most of them were really extremely satisfied or very satisfied with Qt. And that's an amazing result. I mean, the guys doing the survey said they'd rarely seen any, numbers that good. Having 95 being, really on the very satisfied scale with the product. So thanks to all of you for helping and making that possible. I'll go a little bit further, and I have a few more topics that I want to go through. I mean, I'll show a little bit some, numbers from the Qt project, mainly thanks to Thiago and his nice statistics webpage. A little bit of a reflection there, but it's nothing new. I think, having seen the last 4 years, I mean, the Qt project has actually become something that's, working pretty nicely. I have to say, it feels like, I don't have to do too much to, keep it running. It's just, driving itself, and that's a very good thing to see and to know. So we're seeing that it's working, and if we look at a little bit at the statistics, we're also seeing that, it's continuing to strive and thrive and move forward. And there's a few smaller things we should be looking at and attacking, but, nothing major in that area. I'll also then afterwards, just to give you a little bit of an intro, share a little bit of Digia's view on the whole thing. I'll show you some of the slides we also use at other events, a little bit a selection there, so a little bit of marketing. Hope you'll survive that. And then go through, I'll also want to go through with some of the maintainers here, give people the opportunity to speak, for a minute at least about their area, maybe present what they want to do in the sessions here, so you get a little bit of an overview over what's going on in Qt itself. It's a huge product, and I have to say, I don't have an overview over every single area neither. It's just too big for that. So we'll do that, and then I have one other item at the end that we'll go through then. So Qt project, and as I said, let's start off with some little statistics and showing you something. So these are the main companies contributing. We'll start with that one. And you see, Digia's keeping its around 70% level that we had, I think, since Digia acquired the Qt business from Nokia. If you add to that the infrastructure, the CI work, releasing work, it's probably adds up to being, around, I don't know, 80% of the total work that goes into creating the product. But we have a good, contributions from quite a few other companies, See some individuals there, but then you also see BlackBerry's there, KDAP's there, Audio Codes. Actually, I think Audio Codes is mostly one person. We have Yolla, Intel, that's also one person. And Canonical contributing also increasingly now, so I'm happy to see these kind of things. And it's good to see that there's actually an ecosystem of other companies also around that have an interest in Qt and want to help us push the product forward. You can also look at the same thing as on an individual level, and there you see slightly different, levels. So most of it is gray, which means all the other people. We have a few top contributors here, and Orgad's there from Audio Codes, a lot of people from Intel and Thiago, from Digia, and Thiago from Intel. I think that shows that Digia people are probably there naturally because we're working full time on the product, and most other people probably don't have 100% of their time available for working on Qt. I was in that list last year, but I fell out. I'm doing too many other things now these days. It's a shame, but that's how it goes. And these are the contribution statistics from the very beginning, since we launched the Qt project.
There's a bug in the script somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to take a look and figure out why it was 1970.
Yep.
I'd be happy to get some help.
But just count back from 2012 and you'll get the right date. What you see is clearly we had three times Christmas since we launched the project. It also shows that many people do this for a living, and they're taking time off on holidays. I think if you look more closely, you also see a second dip for summer vacation. I think this one here is actually last summer, so everybody was taking some time off. But what's good about it is that we see that, even though we had slightly more contributions at the beginning when we were working towards Qt 5.0 and we were still, part of Nokia, we had more people working on the product then. We still have kept the level pretty good, and, we dropped maybe from an average of 500 changes per week to 400 now, and we kept that, all through the days, throughout the whole time. Interestingly enough, if you look at the number of contributors, don't ignore the white space on the bottom, that's a bug as well. It actually, you see a significant drop after the Nokia times, and that was, because, Nokia had a lot more people and did lay off some of the people. Not everybody went over to Digi. But what we're seeing is that we've kept, the number of contributors pretty constant since then. And actually, if you go back one slide, the drop of number of contributors is higher than the drop of amount of contributions, which means actually we're more productive per person. We're doing more, we're probably having more time there. That's an interesting small facts and details here. But, altogether, this is good, and we're seeing that, the project is healthy and is moving forward at a constant pace. So I'm pretty happy about that. As I said, I think on Qt project itself, so far, I haven't gotten any feedback that says, things are going, badly. I think the contribution model, as we have it, is working nicely. It shows that, I'm not overloaded. I don't have, to approve everything. People are doing their work there. It's great to see that, and I'm feeling really this is working. The delegation down, from myself to the maintainers to the contributors and the approvers is working very nicely. So that's good, and thank you all for doing your part of that work. Just to mention, in terms of the community management, Tero has actually been taking, the role as a community manager from Digia. A few things there is that, I think there's quite a bit of work that we need to do on web systems. And Tero, do you want to give us a few very short and brief overview over that? I think you have a session about it later on, but it's probably good for everybody to have the, executive briefing there.
Yes. Yeah, I'll actually have a session tomorrow morning. I think I booked myself early tomorrow morning, but as Lars said, things require quite a bit of work. I'm not a professional PHP coder. The current system is a PHP thingy, and while I can do some stuff, at some point I'll definitely need a bit of help. I actually invited a couple of people who are really active on the forums over here too also, so as to have them also within the tomorrow session. But if you're interested in kind of helping out, learning what I'm thinking about and how big changes we really are in for, join tomorrow morning, because we are actually in for really big changes. The hosting agreement will be running out in October, and I have an intention that during the autumn we basically will be moving everything out for the web part. It won't affect any of the mailing lists or any of the key functionality we have running like Gerrit or Jira. Those should be good. But tomorrow morning if you're interested. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Tero. I think there's other places where also, in the infrastructure side, we need to do more work. We have done a lot of work now on Gerrit. We're getting the upgrade apparently now on Friday. That's just really good news. So, Friday will be a day off in a way for Gerrit, and we'll hopefully get the new version then up and running after that. There's also some work going on in the bug tracker. I think, Alex and Ossi have been doing quite a bit of work there in Jira to, streamline things. I think we need to do more work. I've also set up a session where I want to discuss a little bit about how we want to deal with our bug handling. I think that's pretty much at the end of the Contributor Summit. One more piece is also that, we need to do a little bit on the maintainer side. I think, there's a few people, who have left, and there's a few projects that have not had a maintainer for a while. And it would be good if we can, fill these holes. If somebody, is interested in taking up a vacant maintainer position, feels he's qualified for that, feel free to talk to me. Also, let's see what we have, and I'd like to probably also see that we get some of these filled in again. It hasn't been a crisis so far, but it's good if we can have a few more people there that help us share the responsibility. Okay, I mean, that's pretty much it from the Qt project side. I mean, as I said, things have been mostly running. I've been happy. And I thought, I'll now give, all our maintainers a little bit of a chance and opportunity to also lose a few words here and give some updates on what's happening in their areas of responsibility. But, there's also a chance for others then to step up a little bit and, have their, minute of fame up here on the stage if they want to. So I think we'll start off with the core stuff. Tiago, come on up.
Thanks, Lars. Hi, everybody. First of all, nice to see so many people around. I think we're full. Yeah? No? Almost full. Just on the scripts, I just posted a few notes on the IRC if anybody wants to help. I don't know why the second one has a blank in the bottom. It started doing, I think it's just a bug in the GNU plot. It's not my fault. The 1970 is a date parsing error, so it gets a 0. And of course, everybody knows that the world started in 1970. So how are we doing right now on the core stuff? Let me just get started with QtDbus, because that's the easiest one. QtDbus has had nothing new except for bug fixes in the last year. We still have the goal of trying to port away from libdbus 1, which would improve support on other platforms rather than Linux, where the library itself isn't that common, and getting would also allow us to, if necessary, run our own services and not depend on the daemon running. Porting to KDBus is an interesting story because apparently upstream keeps changing their minds on what they're going to do. I had some news from last week that they had changed their minds again, and I haven't looked into what's happening. So if you're interested in talking about KDBus and the discussion we started on IRC about the suggested module from Ford, the replicant, is an interesting discussion on what we could do about inter-process communication. Anyway, Qt Core. Qt Core has been getting quite a few fixes. I've been doing performance improvements where I can, looking into cleaning up things. Finally, we'll probably switch QProcess to the forkfd solution, which avoids an unnecessary thread, finally fixes a few issues with race conditions that have been there for a number of years. We have suggested some submissions on bug fixes. So activity there is going fine. What I'm worried about is becoming the kitchen sink. I don't want the module to get every single class that is not network related and is not graphical, and they just get dumped there. For the same reason that Peter might say that he doesn't work everything that is network related to go into Qt network. So my question is, how do we do this? Let me give you an example. We have a submission called QVolumeInfo, which is probably what many people want is, what volumes do I have available, and do I have enough disk space available to do something? And it's a very small, nice class, but then it starts to grow when you need to figure out which volumes are available, because then you start to link to system services, like on Linux, you need to talk to QDev. So it starts to get bloated, it starts to get big, and at one point you decide, shouldn't this actually be on a virtual file system layer elsewhere? So my question really, in the part of the discussion I would like to have is, what do we do for these small classes that are coming in? Usually 1 or 2 is not a problem, but once we add 10 per release, Qt Core starts to get big. And on that note, we would like to make Qt Core smaller. Smaller in the sense of size footprint, not the number of classes. We have duplication of the Unicode data because we also link to ICU. So we have the extra, the Unicode support in Qt Core. We would like to remove it, just depend on ICU. And we have the CLDR data for QLocal, which is duplicated from ICU. But then if we start depending on ICU, people have to ship 80 megabytes of library when they have to deploy their applications. So there's quite a bit of discussion going on. How do we support the operating systems without having to have ICU deployed, just to limit our size footprint, and how to just make applications smaller, as in general. So quite a few interesting things to discuss. So one of the first row of sessions we'll have is the discussion on Qt Core. I really do not have an agenda. It's mostly like, what do you guys want to see? What do you want to discuss? My one that I would like to discuss is the topic I have here, how to make sure that we plan ahead and have reasonable size Qt Core going all the way to Qt 6, for example. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Tiago. I have, gotten slides from a few of the maintainers, from a few others I don't have. Let's see whom we have next on the list. Oh, it's GUI and the scene graph. That's Gunnar, and Gunnar's actually a little bit late. He's coming only after lunch, I think. So he asked me to talk a little bit through that one. So I'll do that, pretend I'm Gunnar now. Yes, Gunnar, it's basically Qt GUI and the scene graph in Qt Quick. In Qt GUI, there's, considered to be stable, mainly. It's a little bit of work that happened throughout the last year, but not much. Most work went actually into the platform plugins and the integration with the underlying, windowing system, like the font integration, platform plugins, all these kind of things. There was some groundwork done by Perl, mainly, for the Q Quick widget and also the hopefully upcoming Q OpenGL widget. That actually resulted from a hackathon event that we had in, when was it, before Christmas, which was actually a lot of fun, and I was part of that hack. What's upcoming is the dynamic GL switching that Laszlo's is working on right now. But other than that, and a few things like, there have been some changes, for the core profile support and these things, it should really be seen as mostly stable and done. I don't think we want to add too much more to it. It's a good and stable module, it's working. And, I don't think that Gunnar doesn't see a big need to do many new things in there. The scene graph is in a bit of a similar position, even though it's younger. It has seen a lot of changes throughout the last year. It got the new renderer, which uses batching and really tries to push as much as possible of the work over to the GPU. And you've probably seen some of the performance comparisons there, that it really helps improve things. We have the animators, which are animations for QML on the render thread that really work on that thread and don't cannot be blocked by the user interface. And that's really one of the big advantages, and the parallelism with one dedicated also render thread per window. So you can do, even if you have multiple top-level windows, you can get very good performance out of it. And that's most of the work that's been done on the scene graph, some of the core profile interoperability work. I think Sean has been doing most of the work there. So, from the scene graph point of view, also Gunnar sees that one as pretty much stable and done on the API and implementation side. We have a few integration points. Right now we're looking into the Q Quick render control. Perl has been doing that one also for the Q Quick widget. And I think there's now some discussions of making that public or not?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. So let's see how we can get that we can get that for 5.4. And then some API for handling cleanups of resources maybe is being thought of. But that's pretty much it from Gunnar's point of view. He thinks it's done and it's good and it's working, and there's no need to do a whole lot of new work. So from his point of view, he thinks these things are in a good and stable situation. So that's the update there from Gunnar. If you have more questions about it, more details, you'll need to talk to him. He has a session, I think, either this afternoon or tomorrow. Qt widgets. Yeah, well, we're lacking the maintainer here. I think the situation there is pretty much the same. We got one new widget over the last year. But I mean, the situation also there is pretty much done, and you know, bug fixes throughout the place, and I think we've been focusing on getting quite a few done. I think most of the work that is required there is, for example, changes like, you know, adapting to the upcoming new Mac OS release 10.10. That's in the style side of things, make sure these things work nicely. But other than that, I think we also consider that mostly in a done and stable state. It's good and it's solid. Not much to do. Print support, John, that's yours. And I have to say, he's done a great job now bringing that one up to speed.
Yeah. Right, well, as most of you probably know, the Qt print support module is basically deprecated in Qt 5 due to many of the shortcomings in the API and the implementation. The painting and the talking to devices and the GUI widgets were all mixed up and not very well separated. We didn't have a very well designed plugin, and it didn't really present a very good model for ongoing support of things like cloud printing and that in the future. So we're planning to come up with a new Qt print library fairly early on in Qt 5. The problem with that has been that developing it as a monolithic whole would take a very long time, wouldn't be very well tested, the API wouldn't be very well exercised. So, and it would also give us 2 code bases to support, which is not something I want to do, given the limited time that I have to work on it. So the obvious solution was to actually develop one platform plugin API that would be shared between the 2 public libraries. And that way we would have one set of code talking to the platforms, to the devices, managing the print jobs and everything like that, and just the APIs being a thin wrapper around them. So we started that in Qt 5.3. We've got the print device code has now been migrated to new code. That seems to be working fairly well. It works in a very consistent way across all the platforms. We introduced Qt page size and Qt page layout to help with all the page management and layout management, which has solved an awful lot of bugs in the layout stuff. We've also written a lot of new auto tests, but we need a lot more. Qt 5.4 will probably see the print job layout section of it implemented with proper support for all the advanced print settings that we don't have at the moment, and probably 5.5 will see the new dialogues and the new Qt print library all going to plan. But on top of that, we've got lots of new features that are needed. We've got to upgrade to CUPS 1.6 support. We lack authentication, which is a problem for anybody in a work environment. We need PDFA support. We need Windows XPS support, which is not Windows XP, but the next generation of the Windows print system, bizarrely called XPS, just to confuse things. We need WinRT support. Android has a print API now. There's standard internet print protocol support that needs to be added, all the different cloud printing services. We need color management. We need a lot more testing, particularly on the automated side of things of checking the output, which can be really tricky as it's very device dependent, and so we need to try do some work on, how we're going to improve that, because it's very, very easy to introduce regressions. So we have a session tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I might try and move it to a better time. I'm not too sure. We'll see how things go. But if anybody's interested in things like all the different platform support and the testing especially, love to see you there. And just with the other hat on of the work that I've been doing on locale and date time, we'll probably discuss it in the Qt core session, I'm sure, but I could also schedule in an extra session to go into that in more depth if we need to later. Good. Thank you. Oh yeah, thank you to all the people who helped on the different platforms in 5.3, particularly the Windows and Mac guys who saved my backside on quite a few nasty bugs. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, John. I think you've done a tremendous job in bringing the print support library there, at least a good step further towards where it should be. Yes, what else do we have? QtQML. Simon, do you want to say a few things? Come on up.
Hi. So a brief summary on QML. The headline is that we think that QML can be a lot smaller and a lot faster. And that's sort of the premise I think we've had when we started rewriting the thing beginning last year. Sorry. That was something else. Last year. So when we started last year, that was sort of the headline. I think we wanted to make. We see there's a lot of potential for making this a lot smaller and a lot faster and a lot more integrated. And the problem is that at the same time we have to keep it running and it has to work and people have to be able to use it. So that's a bit of the challenge. We're rewriting everything and it has to work all the time. But I think so far we've been doing quite well thanks to a lot of high quality bug reports. Extremely good bug reports coming in, and that we were able to react, I think, quite quickly to the unlikely event of regressions. And so, after about a year now, where the next steps, I think, going forward for 5.4 and 5.5 and the like is continued work on the garbage collector. That is one big item that's going to get a lot of attention then in the summer, and hopefully done for 5.4. And then the other bigger, so that's going to have clearly impact on performance, and it will also be able to improve, I think, our memory usage, because it'll make it much easier for us to return memory. And the other bigger item that we plan to tackle is the object model itself, or the way we store data, the way when you declare properties in QML where they are stored. And right now they are stored in one place, and we'd like to store them in another place. And that other place is actually in the JavaScript engine itself, because we think we can store it much more efficiently there and in a much better way of accessing it. I think those are the two bigger items ahead, and from there, there are many other things. There are smaller items in the language itself. Tooling as well. Oh yeah, yes. Thanks. There's one other thing actually. It's the past. That's why I forgot it, but it's landed. Ulf has been doing amazing work on the profiling actually, on the performance profiling, and now since last week we also have a memory profiler that allows profiling, getting exact measurements of memory usage, and that is, I think, another item that's going to get also more attention than on the creator and tooling side, to visualize, to get access to that data that we can now collect in order for you to be able to find out like where things go wrong, or where things go not wrong actually, why things go well. Yes, I think those are the big things. There's a couple of smaller things that have accumulated over time, features that are missing in the language, and so that's why I have one session scheduled for tomorrow morning at 10, not 9, where I would like to discuss some things we can do, some low-hanging fruit I think there is in the language itself, where we could add things. And I'd like to use the opportunity of the summit to have quick face-to-face discussions to reach a consensus of how these things should be done in the language and how we can make them accessible and versioned. I think this is much easier to do than via email and week-long discussions, so I'd like to discuss a couple of things to add there, simple features in the language that we can do, and then we can see about doing them afterwards, but the long part is the discussion. And I think Alan has another session, I think also tomorrow afternoon, about creating a clearer separation between the scripting aspect of QML and the declarative aspect, the pure declarative aspect of it. And I think that's also a quite interesting discussion if you have an interest in QML. We'll see where that takes us in making a bit of a clearer separation, at least maybe from a tooling side and also perhaps from a programming side of things. So I think that's basically it for QML.
Thanks, Simon. I think when we've been at QML, let's move a little bit up the stack and then go to the graphical side of things. Alan, is there anything you want to say about Qt Quick?
Yep. So Qt Quick is going probably pretty well. The exciting technical innovation was all covered by Simon at the lower level. But there's still, despite Qt Quick sort of being still pretty good and pretty stable, I wouldn't call it done, because there's still some things that are more painful than they should be, and even though it sucks for everyone, we'd like to be able to continue leading in the user experience and make that even better. So that's what the Qt Quick sessions are largely about. at the Contributor Summit. So later today, the biggest thing is how do we make advanced touch handling easier, because it's a bit of a pain now. That has its own session. And then at my Q-Quick session tomorrow at 11, I believe, we'll cover some of the other things, such as improving the experience with model views and for adaptable UI. So I don't think there's any real problems with Q-Quick, but there's definitely room for anyone with really good ideas on how to make this easier. We really need more of the sort of conceptual, what's a better conceptual breakdown in order to get just better APIs at this particular level. And yeah, other than that, it's all smiles. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. So let's see, what else do we have? Oh, yeah, this is the one thing where I got 2 slides even. Sean, where are you? News about Qt3D.
Okay, so Qt3D is still conspicuous by its absence. We've spent the best part of the year reviewing various game engines, because they seem to be most closely aligned with what we're trying to do with Qt3D. We came to the conclusion that the Qt3D 1 API made too many assumptions and was too tied into basically the OpenGL 1 style of working. So we've decided to rewrite the vast majority of it. Paul and Pepe have been doing some excellent work on it. We're now at the point where the work in progress new API branch is actually able to render stuff. Still plenty to do. The tricky part has actually been making the API suitable so we can extend it in the future with things like 3D audio, physics, collision detection, skeletal animation, and lots of other stuff that people pop up and ask for. We have both C++ and QML APIs, both of which still need much polishing yet, but they are shaping up. The core API is mostly in place now, we think. The backend is based on a task-based API, which at the moment is using Threadweaver from KDE Frameworks. And we've got plans in place to implement some other backends based on, for example, the Bullet physics engine. The renderer is a data-driven renderer, so as opposed to the Qt-Quick renderer, which uses a couple of fixed parsers, one for the opaque and one for the transparent objects. This is entirely configurable from QML or C++. We're aiming for a 5.4 release with a relatively slim feature set, but the aim is to be able to then extend that rapidly in the future with 5.5 and further on down the road. So if anyone would like to help out with this, we've got a nice broad base we can work across now, and all help is more than welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. It's great seeing this come together. Actually, Qt3D is one of the things that we get a lot of questions about. When is it finally coming? Everybody's waiting for it. So it's good to see it coming, and I hope we'll make it for 5.4. What else do we have? Alessandro, do you have a few minutes to give us a little bit on an update on the toolings? What's happening in Qt Creator land?
Hello. Since we are in Berlin here, and our tooling office is also here in Berlin, half of the audience is basically Digia employees.
You're exaggerating here.
No, okay.
But the Berlin
I would say
here.
10, 12 people at least. So I assume that if you use Qt Creator and have a favorite and not so favorite feature, you will find the right people to talk about these and to complain or to give some compliments. And just talking about what we were doing the last months or year and what we will do. So mostly we are still in maintenance and fixing mode. We cleaned up a lot of stuff that has been done still in the Nokia times. We found, or we knew about these things, but now we found the time to unite several indexers, for example, or to split editors and code models and these things. So We are working on maintenance mostly, but we are also working on new features. In the debugger, for example, we have LLDB support, which we had to do for Mac OS for the latest versions. It will also benefit for other platforms in some point. We will try to make the Qt Quick Designer more useful for more use cases. Multi-monitor support, high-resolution support, Android, of course, iOS support. And so for all these things, you will find people here to talk about. We will have a session at 3 o'clock. And yeah, we are hoping for good discussions. And we are always looking for, also for bug reports and these things. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Alessandro. As he said, I mean, most of the tool development, creator development is done in Berlin, and so most of the people are actually here in this room now. So, you know, feel free to grab them, go to the session, and then, you know, I think you also have time to, you know, have more sessions afterwards if there's a demand.
Yeah. Just come to me, I will.
And Alessandro can tell you whom to talk to if you don't know yourself. I think that's that. You know, then there's a question: is there others who want to say something? That's what I got basically as direct, you know, answers to my request, which I agree. I admit I sent out a little bit late. Anything that, you know, anybody else that wants to still say something about, you know, different areas of Qt? Anybody? Or, you know, present a session?
Sure. I think almost nobody knows me. Sure. My name's Brett Stottlemyre. I work for Ford Motor Company. First time for the Contributor Summit. We've got two things that we wanted to bring to the table and see how they're received here. One of them is a QML Qt state machine framework. So it basically takes the state machine framework that's already in C++ and wraps it in QML, so it's a little bit easier to work with. They're kind of two different ends of the spectrum. That one is hopefully something that doesn't take a lot of extra work and just becomes part of the fold. Our hope is. There's some other things that we're trying to build on top of it with some help from KDAB. And I'm not sure if I'm not sure if that's going into Alan's session or Simon's session tomorrow. I think,
state machine?
Yeah, the state machine stuff. Oswald, who I haven't met, suggested that become part of one of those two sessions. Pardon? Fair enough. Okay, we will do that. We'll put that probably sometime tomorrow. Okay, and the second one is a bigger one in my mind, something that is called Replicant, which is trying to take the ideas of Qt slots, Qt connections, and what you can do with Q objects in multiple threads, and extend it to IPC. Try and make it easy to have objects that are, sorry, a little jittery, have objects that you can use in multiple processes without having to write a lot of boilerplate code. So we're having a session on that today, I think, at 1 o'clock. And hopefully folks that are interested can bring up questions. So, hello everybody. Thanks.
Thanks. And it's great also to see, you know, now new companies coming in, new people coming in, and, you know, willing to contribute, you know, some good new pieces of functionality. So let's see how this goes in the sessions. Anybody else? Frederick, come on up.
Good morning. Just quickly, there's a couple of things that we haven't mentioned. For example, we have the Krita guys from KDE here as guests, and we want to discuss tablet support, especially drawing tablets, how artists can use Qt, because, well, in Qt 4 the support is not good enough, and so we said let's fix it properly in Qt 5. If you're interested in that, we have a networking, no, what am I saying? We have a session about the Qt clouds and so on. I don't know if the guys are here yet. Oh, there you are. Cool. So Jari and Miska are going to lead that, and we can discuss and GNU the WebSockets and so on there. And lastly, my personal area, accessibility is going great. We have finally merged iOS support just now, and so we will have accessibility. So, for example, blind users can use your applications on all platforms now, actually, apart from Windows RT, where the support is not even there for Microsoft. So I'm quite happy about that. If you want to discuss that, please just grab me. I didn't schedule a session because usually it's such a niche thing that not many people are interested. But please talk to me. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Fredrik. Actually, I just remembered, I must have forgotten a slide somewhere. I think which you did send me something about networking, but it's not in the slide set here. You can talk without a slide? I'm sure you can. Come on up.
Hey. So Qt Network's been fairly quiet recently. We've done an awful lot of bug fixing and lots of triaging of bugs that have been around for years, really. Some of them go back as far as Qt 4.4. There's a lot less now. A lot of the bugs had already been fixed. A lot of the ones that are remaining are platform-specific and quite difficult to reproduce, so that's obviously a challenge. One of the big weaknesses has been support for macOS, partly because of lack of access to the hardware, but also because macOS has very old versions of some of the libraries. Now, one thing that's been happening very recently that's very good is a guy called Jeremy Lane has been working on a native backend for the SSL support for iOS, so that may actually make it into 5.4. Other than that, we've been adding support for Speedy, that's Peter's done, so that gives us much faster HTTP support. We've also tightened up the SSL ciphers, so the defaults are now much more secure. I think forthcoming stuff is really the iOS support and hopefully a way to make it easier to do SSL servers. So we're looking at an API for an SSL server socket. But it's really mostly a case of trying to get everything under control and fix the bugs and triage them. So if anyone wants to try and reproduce any of the bugs, that would be extremely welcome, because most of the ones that we have remaining, we just have really vague problem reports that make it pretty much impossible to actually do anything with them.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I think, we're mostly covering. I mean, covered most things now. I've been talking a little bit, to Alex about the Bluetooth and location and stuff, and he basically said there's nothing new to report. So, if you want, he has a session and go there, talk to him. Same thing I think is true for the WebKit web engine area, where, Zeno also told me he has nothing really new. So go and grab him if you want to talk to him about it. And I think that covers most of the areas. Are there, maybe if there's any questions about any specific areas that you want to now ask here in the plenary, would be a good time. And I think we have a few minutes, if there's anything. If not, we'll move on. Nope? Okay. We'll have plenty of time for discussions afterwards anyway. So let's move on. Different topic. I'll just, move on and show you a little bit of Digia's perspective on where Digia is right now as, the main company behind Qt, producing Qt and also selling Qt, commercially. So let me have my Digia hat on for a little while and present that a bit on where we are, where things are. You'll see some of the slides that we are using now on some of the events on a marketing perspective, trying to present a little bit the big picture of what we're trying to do. So this is, as I said, a bit more marketing oriented. One of the things that we're seeing is that for us still on the usage wise, desktop is #1. This is where most of the commercial enterprise customers are. spot, what we're also seeing is that more and more of those really want to, move over to multi-screen. They have already, in many cases, multiple desktop platforms that they support. They start looking into tablets and other things. And you see that if you see the numbers. This is also from the Qt Insights market research. And you see that the developers, what they call committed multi-screen, meaning people that really target both desktop and different mobile operating systems, maybe even embedded. So multi-screen applications, apps that run on multiple different operating systems, multiple different screens, and that is going up quite a bit within the next 2 years. They set from 25% right now to around 32%. And it's important really there to serve these customers. That's why also, a big part of the need for the mobile operating systems for Qt, also comes from this. This is really the guarantee that, we are giving people with the product that, they can move to a new operating system easily, and we'll take care of that for the people. We'll make sure that they're isolated against the changes of the underlying operating systems. But then, most of them will have something where they not only target one operating system anymore, but they're really going to multiple of them. And if you have these kind of multi-screen applications, then you're also seeing that more and more of them see, okay, how do we solve the problem then, that people are using multiple screens with the application, with the same application, it's the same user. I need to store the data somewhere, and the obvious solution there is the cloud. How do you bring your data into the cloud, how you store the data there and make all of this work. So this is some of the things that we're seeing, and the trend is going there, and that's why we're doing certain things also in the cloud, with cloud storage. So Qt Cloud Services are an important piece of that picture, creating server-side things. I mean, Qt has been traditionally very much an API and framework for doing applications on the client side. And we're seeing that there's a big need now to also, provide and help on the server side, make things easier there. We have, launched the Engine IO backend as a service, so that you can store data there. We have now, with 5.3, the managed web sockets, which make it easy to do things like push notifications to your applications. And I think the next step that will come now, and that we're working on, will be to bring actually have Qt-based applications also able to run them on the server side, so that we can easily host them, and you can just push your application to the server, and it will run there on the server side. So this is some of the things that are important, in the Digia strategy on the application development sphere. Multi-screen, application development. Then we have, do I have a slide for that? No. Then we have as a second point the embedded market, where we're seeing a strong growth. Everybody nowadays wants to have a user interface on their embedded devices, a touch screen. And if you want a touch screen, it better looks good. Otherwise, you can just as well drop it. And then if you look around in the market, there's actually not too many technologies that you can use for doing that. And I think pretty much everybody stumbles over Qt and comes and looks at Qt as a potential solution for doing embedded devices. Many of them talk to us, and I think this is a great opportunity and a good place to also focus on. So this is the Qt Enterprise Embedded. This is what we're doing there, offering a lot of convenience and trying to make embedded application development as easy as desktop development is, or has been for many years. Another piece that's important is really the ecosystem. And that means that includes you, it includes all the Qt users that we have out there. And we want to make sure that the ecosystem is strong and it generates value. And we're not there right now, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. Right now, we have a community of developers that are mostly disconnected. So we need to transform that ecosystem into something that's, better for everybody in the long term, where people can generate value, where people can also, have third-party components around Qt, advertise those, sell the services that they offer on top of Qt, and all these things. This is important, really, to grow the ecosystem, make sure, it's healthy, and we have more and more people using Qt. Just some numbers to give you an idea of what Digia is right now doing, we have around 120 software engineers that are working full-time on Qt. Both, some on consultancy, but most of them on the product, pushing the product forward on the CI infrastructure, on Garrett, on all the things that are needed to make the product work, on releasing and testing. So right now we're maintaining and financing the development and testing infrastructure. The websites are developed by us and are hosted by us indirectly, and it's around a 15 million euro investment per year that is being done there. Financials actually for Qt are, since last quarter, available in the quarterly reports of Digia. So I can give you these numbers now. Just telling you, we had acquiring the whole Qt business from Nokia was a big investment for Digia. And it was a big team that was taking over, and the costs are not low. So for 2013, we had a negative financial result that was expected, and for the first quarter of 2014, we're seeing that we're still we have a revenue, and revenues our revenue is going up, so we're having growth, but it's still negative. We had a revenue of 4.8 million euros and a cost of 5.7. So we need to, and we want to find ways also to grow faster so that we can invest better into Qt moving forward. That's extremely important. Of course, everybody knows, we need to grow this. The cost level right now is exceeding what we get in, so, it's not sustainable in the long term. It's an investment path that we're currently on. Okay, so that's a little bit on the financial side, just to giving you also there, showing you how things are, how we're doing. I can't give you the numbers for Q2 yet because they're not public, and we're on the stock exchange. But once the quarterly results for Digia come out, you can check them yourself. So there's one more thing and one last thing that I wanted to talk with you about here on the plenary session. And that's actually what I would call the fragmentation of the Qt story right now with open source and enterprise. Qt, as you know, has a long history, and it has been developed under Trolltech. We had Trolltech's website, Qt as a product, and Qtopia as a product. Then Qt got acquired by Nokia, and what Nokia did in 2011 is what it created the Qt project as a means to develop Qt inside a community with the community. We've been taking many steps into that direction in the past before. During Trolltech times, the licensing became more and more liberal. We added more and more versions of Qt to the open source story, GPL licensed. Then we added, Nokia added the LGPL licensing option to Qt. I need something to drink, this is hot in here. And we did then, as a final step, we started having external contributions to, actually at that point, it was Gitorious, and that never really worked very well because we had different workflows inside and outside of Qt. And at some point, we really then went for Qt project and the Garrett workflow that you all know today. Thiago was a big part of that work and has been helping drive that forward big time. And it created a very strong thing. It created the Qt community of contributors and people developing Qt. All of you who are here today, and many others who maybe didn't make it to today's and tomorrow's meetings. But it did another thing at the same time. It actually fragmented the Qt story because Nokia put that on a separate website, completely disconnected from the business side. We currently have qtproject.org and we have qt.digia.com, very much disconnected. We have two products that are disconnected. So let's go a little bit through that. Right now the story is fragmented. We have two different products. We have two separate packages, the enterprise and the open source packages. coming under two different licenses, the commercial license, the LGPL license. The enterprise packages contain additional functionality. The enterprise package checks for a valid license. But other than that, the content is pretty much the same. All the parts that you know from the open source version of Qt are in the enterprise version. Nothing taken away, nothing changed there. We also have a separate web presence with qtproject.org and qtdigia.com, where we have 2 banners on qtproject.org as the only connection over to the enterprise product. And if you look at both websites, we have different and disconnected product descriptions, and also different download locations for the product. I've been talking to some of the partners, and they said basically it's very hard for us to explain the Qt story to our customers. Should we send them to qtproject.org, they get one piece of the story. Should we send them to qt.digia.com, they get another piece of the story. None of them are complete in itself. And they're maybe not even 100% consistent with each other. So they have a hard time explaining the value of the product. And I think that fragmented story makes it difficult to position Qt as a technology against our competition, against competing frameworks and tools. And it makes it very hard to speak with one voice and highlight all the benefits and all the good stuff that we have with the technology. So the problem really is that, to some extent we keep competing with Qt against Qt. The 2 different versions. At least that's, somehow how you can see that a little bit when you're on the Digia, when you're looking at Digia. But also from the open source side, there's also the enterprise version, and how are they connected? People don't really understand and see the connection in a good way. There's too much focus then on the license choice that you're doing rather than on the technology, choosing Qt instead of choosing some other technology. And that's what we should be doing. We should be positioning Qt and focusing with Qt against, all the other frameworks that are out there, all the competition that we have. And we have a very inconsistent messaging and, an underlined value proposition there. It's because we're not consistent, because it's not a consistent message, it's very difficult to explain what the value of Qt really is. And one of the obvious things that happened, for example, is that this split up led to very poor visibility in the search engines. Up to a couple of months ago, if you tried to find the documentation for Q push button, so you just entered Q push button into Google, the first hit you got was the Harmattan documentation from Nokia. It was, it's a disaster. And even now, if you search for it, you still don't find the right up-to-date documentation. I think the first hit still goes to some 4.8 documentation. It also makes it very difficult for people to move between open source and the enterprise version, something that, I've also heard, some of our partners saying this is a problem. I've heard customers saying this is difficult. And, it is difficult to do that, and the disconnect there is there. And obviously also many people are then confused which version they should be using. At the same time, as I said, we have a disconnected ecosystem. We have a community of people. We have a huge amount of users, over 250,000 downloads in 7 days. We have lots of people using Qt. We have no idea who they are, what they do with it. We can't talk to them. We can't create a community, a real connected community, an ecosystem there out of it. And that makes it actually harder than it needs to be to grow the Qt user base. And of course, there's a last problem that, maybe Digia has, but I think Qt as a whole has, since, a lot of the development is being funded by, people paying for Qt. We have a low amount of paying users. And we have a large amount actually of companies, also large companies, that use Qt but don't give anything back. Some of them gives back some things and some contributions, but many of them are not doing anything at all. And that's affecting also Qt's growth. It's not only Digia, but also the Qt and the Qt as a framework and a tool. And we do require, we have to say that, relatively high investments to stay competitive. Because what we're competing against are, things like the native frameworks on Android, And Google is investing huge amounts of money into these. We're competing against native frameworks by Microsoft.NET. Microsoft acquired Xamarin to push that maybe a bit more cross-platform. And we're competing against the native stuff on iOS and what Apple has. We need to do something there. We need to have enough money to keep all our things going, to keep the developers working there. So we need and the people invest, and the infrastructure, CI, and all of these. So this is something where both I think Digia and the community, the open source community, are actually hurting because of this. So the question is really then, okay, and that's what we've been thinking about a little bit for the past months. I've been talking to a few people about that. We've been having quite a few talks in Digia internally. So how can we fix this? And that's the obvious solution really, that's really to have only one product, Qt. Let's not have two products, Qt open source, Qt enterprise. Let's have one. And just simply call it Qt. Would like to have, and this is what we want to discuss also with you now during the Contributor Summit for the next 2 days. One set of packages, one downloadable product that you can go to, you can get the packages, and they're both for open source and for enterprise. You get the open source components automatically, and if you have an enterprise license, you'll also get the enterprise editions installed. It's very simple actually. And then allow upgrading from the open source version to enterprise, integrate the cloud service that we have, and use that thing then also in the longer term to create a marketplace for Qt add-ons where everybody can advertise and put in their favorite additions to Qt as a product. So make the development actually easier for our users, and have one product, and then you have different licensing and pricing models that will hopefully fit all needs, and everybody will find whatever he needs there in that product. We would also like to move to one website and unify qtproject.org and qt.digia.com. So have one entry place and home for all information about Qt, where you can find everything that you need, whether that's product information, it's licensing information, the marketing, non-technical stuff for your managers, and all the technical information, the developer information, forums, wiki, bug database support, and the documentation, of course. And then present this as really one product in these web pages. With that, we can then, showcase, for example, customer cases, what's the value of Qt, why is it good to use that, and make it easy to get started and learn why Qt is a great technology. So with that, we can then also present different, plans or editions side by side that give users the freedom to choose what works for them. Is it the free open source version? Is it the enterprise version? What do you need? Is it maybe some other thing in between? And then, present also the value that there is actually a company behind Qt that takes care that the product really is polished, it's done, it's a great high quality product. And, really, use that also to have a much better presentation of our ecosystem and our partners especially on that web page. And with that, I think we can defragment and unify our communications in a much better way. Also, then connect the Qt ecosystem, bring it together, really. This is what, most of the other people, developers for technologies out there are doing, Android, iOS, and others. We want to connect that, have a channel to the ecosystem, use the Qt account for that as a means to connect to the Qt ecosystem. Use it also to simplify our work, have a single sign-on for all Qt-related services. Right now, I think you probably need 3 sign-ons right now. We have Jira and Gerrit, we have the forums, which are separate, we have the enterprise portal, which is also separate again. And, it feels, it's clumsy that we have that. So we would like to, really unify that, and then use also the Qt account for various other long-term possibilities, to make, for example, we can use that one then to make it easier to collaborate with other developers. if we have that Qt account as a means, of identification, you can then maybe create your work groups or other things. We don't know yet, but we have lots of ideas. We'll have to see how we can implement them, and then use it also as a marketplace. As I said, for add-ons, maybe also as a channel where people can advertise services and other things. So we really create one ecosystem, and then can work together really in that ecosystem to make the technology successful. And it should be easy to connect and network within the ecosystem. That's what we would like to have there, and like to do. So, what are the benefits? I think, stronger together is a phrase that, Mika in our organization, said it's a very market-oriented approach there, but I think it's probably true that if we can bring this together, it'll make the product stronger, and it'll help all of us. So, for our users that are using Qt, they'll have a bigger community. They'll have a consistent message that will increase the number of developers in the ecosystem, and one website to go to get all the information that they possibly need. They have one account for all the services all around Qt, and an open channel there with the Qt account for developers in the ecosystem. And developers can also go in and then start promoting their products, their additions, for example, to Qt, to all other Qt developers through that. So in the end, it'll lead to, I think, easier development environment and a better developer experience. For the contributors, I don't think a whole lot will change, actually. We don't want to change anything in the contribution model. That's working nicely. It's a great thing we have, and it's a fantastic community we have of contributors. We will not. I don't think we should do any changes to that model. We shouldn't do changes, or we don't need to do larger changes to code review, Jira, or CI. Neither. It just can stay as it is. Apart from that, we hopefully get a newer Garrett version up and running, but we can simplify things with a single sign-on for everything. And we have the opportunity, Tero talked about that, qtproject.org, the website is a mess right now. It's unmaintainable, and we can clean that up also at the same go. We need to do that anyway, no matter what we do. And this would simplify it. It would put things together in one go. For partners, I think there's a great advantage because they'll get a much better visibility, on that website, basically showing that there's an ecosystem. Right now, I think the partner pages, is on qtdigia.com somewhere, and it's, if you come from qtproject.org, it's rather well hidden. It's also an easy and consistent product messaging that they can give out to their, customers about why they should be using Qt. What are the advantages? And they can easily create add-on products that they can then also advertise and sell inside that ecosystem. So also creating the add-on products is easier. You only have one set of packages you need to target and work against. And I think for Digia, the advantage is really that it's one messaging that will resonate better with the developers. We hope that we can use this really to grow the ecosystem. Of course, also get people to a more easier conversion to Qt Enterprise, remove the barriers of entry to the enterprise version, and hope that this will, we hope that this will help us, also fund the Qt development in the future, and it'll make our QA testing more efficient. We have half the amount of packages we need to test, which means we can focus on and have much better quality control on the packages that we do have. Maybe even have more packages for more different operating systems there. And we can offer a channel for the community through the Qt account. And I think that will help us, also success that we hope to have with this for Digia will also secure Qt's future, because we can then Digia can then invest more into the Qt R&D and the development. So I'm almost done now. I've been talking a lot, but how could this look in practice? And we had. Mika had been doing a little bit of a prototype and thinking about how could this look, possibly how could such a website look like. And I'll just show you an example of what we thought it could be looking like. This is a website prototype demo showing a unified Qt. That's the home page where we have then Of course, everything's a mock-up here. But I think this is actually implementable.
Yes, it is.
It would be fun. It would be fun to have. No, everything in here is pretty much everything is a mock-up. This is really just showing also how a modern website there could be looking like, where we have one Qt code where we say we have how many users we have, the platforms we have, APIs, some use cases where you can click on for example the Bluescape and you get the video. I don't know if you've seen it about Bluescape and their touch-based wall. Bit like Minority Report, pretty cool stuff. Different other customer use cases that are there, Ubuntu, for example, Yolla, Panasonic Avionics or others. And some getting started and some information there. And, just, get started here. And then have something like, I think Qt, no, let's see if I have a web. I probably don't have web internet now. Where's my Chrome? See, the usual problem. Just give me a second. Okay, let's go back. I think now hopefully we can see something here. Qt in use, I think you've seen that. Other companies using Qt. You can go to the product section, where you can see one tool for any project, apps. And as I said, this is just a mock-up that some people put together. all is subject to change. We'll also, want to do it and, have feedback from you how things should look like. Here's the focus on the three main areas, application developers, embedded developers, and something about the cloud. And then, talking about the supported platforms that we have, and you see it's all mock-up. The text is stuff. How, some stuff of getting started, case stations, and some pricing information here about, the free open source version, enterprise versions, and you get what you get there. Buy now, download, all the things are there, and show this in a consistent message. And then for developers, information about getting started, documentation, the forums. There's also something, we had something somewhere about contributing. Here's the contribution section. This is a little bit further down below, because this is actually, as there's around, 300 people contributing to Qt, maybe 400. We have, thousands and 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of users that use Qt. So, it's important that we put these users in the foreground. And then some things about support and download. I don't think these are implemented right now. So this is just an idea how this could be looking like. Just to give you a small idea how a modern web page there could look like that has this as a unified thing. So, and with that, I'll stop talking, and I'd like to invite for feedback about this. What are you guys thinking? Does this sound like the right thing to do? Are you in? Do you have any? What are your concerns? What should we be doing? Alan.
For my personal reference, this is basically going back to the old Trolltech model, but with a modern website.
Yes and no.
What are the differences from the Trolltech model, which I really liked back then? So if it's the same thing, I'll just buy in automatically.
Yeah, it is to some extent. It is the same thing. The difference is, of course, that we will continue and we want to continue developing Qt, as we do now, which not as we did in Trolltech, right? So that's one huge difference. The other thing is, I think that with what Trolltech also never did is trying to really create an ecosystem around Qt. I think that wasn't really the thinking at that point in time, but this is something we would like to do now. Basically, create that ecosystem so we have a channel to the Qt developers and have a much stronger focus on that. Trolltech used to put out the open source and the enterprise versions. It was also different packages at that time. Still, the packages were separate. So we want to unify the packages, and we want to create one ecosystem. Trolltech, the open source packages were also just put out for everybody. Trolltech had a unified website, though. Yes, that's going back to the Trolltech thing. But I mean, the rest, I mean, the ecosystem around it, and I think the unified packaging is clearly something that Trolltech didn't have. Which?
Are you going to be able to have a single download that has the enterprise features and still actually be a valid open source license?
What you do, we would have a single package, and if you use the open source version, you'll get a click-through for that one, and then you will only get the open source packages installed. I mean, the installer that we have right now is mainly an online installer anyway already, which downloads the additional packages and the additional content. Qt itself, most of the things have a license header which actually says you can use it under either or, right? So I mean, we don't have to change anything in there.
I'm thinking more of, say you have a feature that is only available in your enterprise version.
Yeah.
Then aren't you going to have problems with the licensing? Will the license actually allow you to aggregate it like that, the LGPL?
I don't see why the LGPL would make it impossible to advocate that. Okay, let's talk about that afterwards, I think. I don't see why it would be difficult, but maybe I'm not seeing something.
Which domain name do you intend to use? Like a new one, Qt project, Qt.com?
Up for this. So the question was about the domain name, up for discussion and up for figuring out what we want. We're looking at a set of options, haven't concluded yet. So, if you have a great idea, please tell us.
Do you have one? Do you want to tell us?
There's just, I mean, we'll have to look through. We have a couple of domains that we own that could be possible. There's a couple of domains that would be interesting that we don't own. We'll just have to look and see what we do. But I mean, this is basically all I have right now. As I said, I mean, we wanted to go out and talk with you about this, early in the process, not, come up and have everything set up and with ready-made facts. So this is something where we feel it's very important that you guys are involved and that you also get to hear about it early and can also give feedback on what do you think we should be doing and how it should be done. Yes.
I think you just answered this question, but I want to confirm. For things like the new QML compiler, it's only available for enterprise. That's part of Qt Creator. So what you would do is you would download either the enterprise version of Qt Creator or the open source version, and one would have that feature and one wouldn't.
Well, it's basically that the enterprise editions would be just additional downloads that would be integrated into the installer, and if you have an enterprise license, they would be available to you. And they would then, get downloaded and integrate in. So.
One thing I'm a little worried about is the idea of a Qt account. I can see why it's an idea to have something like that, but I'm just a little wary for more sorts of commercial software where you have to go through like a million steps and give them your date of birth and social security number and everything to download a piece of software.
Yes.
I really hope that we don't get to that point.
No, this is also one of the things we want to discuss. I mean, I think we want to make it attractive, but I think, the minimum requirement for the Qt account will be, and that currently is, as far as I know, an email address. And Miska, right? It's an email address. That's all that's currently required, pretty much.
Yeah, that's in the class.
Yes. So the question is also, is it something that you have to use or is it an optional sign up, right? And I think this is something we need to discuss and figure out.
Yeah, if it's optional, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What about if there's something like a marketplace and there comes up like a free alternative to one of Widgets products? Will there be bias against it? Like, I don't know, open source charting library?
I don't know. We haven't. Honestly, it's a good question how we'll handle this. But I think there shouldn't be too much of a bias. I mean, I hope we can then convince people. But just having a good one. At the same time, I'll also be, very honest. If people, create, open source alternatives to everything that Digia is doing, on the enterprise side, I mean, there might at some point not be a business anymore, and, that means, we will not be able to continue investing into the product. So there's also downsides to having that. But I mean, of course, I think there will be, and we had, other chart libraries there before. So we'll see what happens. But I think having that ecosystem just in itself is extremely valuable. And there will be enough, there will be a lot of free content and a lot of paid for content. And then, we can, I think it's good if there's choice in that.
So would the model be that if you had a third-party component that was paid for, that Digia will take a cut, so effectively the Apple store model?
There would have to be something, at least. I don't know how much, but since the hosting, and we've been going through that now, setting up the infrastructure so that you can actually buy Qt online, the whole credit card billing system, and that is actually costing money as well to sustain and to maintain and to bring forward. I mean, it took us now approximately 9 months to get it implemented so that it really works internationally. Because the problem is, I mean, there's very few that really provide you with that service internationally. There's no real good solutions there. And you have to really integrate with lots of different local systems. So it's quite a bit of work, more than one would think. And there's also legal responsibility you have in there whenever, things are with handling money, something with money is involved. So I think there will have to be something, but I don't know. We haven't been talking about the details, how this would be looking like. Yes, all the way in the back. It would certainly be not under a Digia domain. Well, I mean, in practice right now, all the work that we're doing on the websites is, the only company doing it, or anybody, only company body doing anything on the websites is Digia already now.
But I could imagine that it would be more attractive for other local companies to have a point where we have this empty code in Qt, where every commercial provider is one of many.
I think the goal here is very clearly that also KDAP and other partners are a lot more visible, and they're visible as as service providers in the ecosystem. Absolutely. So this should be much more visible right now. I mean that you almost can't find anybody at least from the Qt project website. It's difficult to find anybody providing services there on Qt, and I think that should be really visible then in that website. Yes.
At least the mockup seems to be solving one problem that a couple of my colleagues have been throwing at me from external companies, that in order to get Qt, you have to understand it already when you go to the web pages at the moment. Yeah. You have to understand, do I need the creator package, do I need this package or that package, or do I need to click that link and then go get that package? That would at least, it look a lot more streamlined. Like get started, get it here.
Yes.
That would help many other people.
Of
course, you can always get started, but trust me, really,
I mean, this is.
For example, people who have contacted me who live in a startup business, they have a day maximum to evaluate the library, and if half of the day is just figuring out which version to get, it's not going to be going well.
Yeah. This is also what we're seeing, when we're talking to people that have been doing the market research, or the people that look our marketing people. It's really hard right now to actually get people to understand the value and have something where you come to the web page and then you find your way through in a quick way so that you get the information you need as a new starter. Right now, the web page is optimized for, let's say, all the people that are very deeply technical and already know Qt inside out. And that's not a good thing. That's not helping us to really capture all the new people. And still, on that web page, the developer section should be exactly that. Should be exactly the place where people find everything they need if they already know the product. Yes. Let's see, what's the time saying? Yes.
Yeah, for those people that are evaluating Qt who don't know it yet, maybe it's a good idea to come up with and really test the fast path for somebody who is evaluating Qt. Like, when somebody goes to the website, how do they find the package, how do they run an example, and the corresponding documentation and stuff.
Yeah, and we've been doing some of that testing, and the current results are not good. That's what I can tell you. And I think this is clearly something where once you have done something that you have up, you need to still continuously work on that, try to monitor that. Actually, there are tools in there that that one can use to monitor. How are people finding their way through the web page? How many people do you lose on every click? To a different place until they get to the place where they can download the product. And these kind of things are things that you can then use also to improve the flow of your web page.
I think that is true. That the next step after that is then to make sure that the package that you deliver provides this. Like really, you almost get faced immediately with a cool looking example.
That's the get. Yeah, that's the get starting experience in the package. We've done a bit of work for that for 5.3, quite a bit. Our documentation team and others have been working on that. If we're honest to ourselves, it's still not good enough. Inside the package, once you downloaded it and installed it, if you're new to Qt, it's still, a little bit rough to get started. And I think that's something that still needs improvements. Daniel. I don't have any, no. It's a thought I've been having also once or twice, but I'm not sure how valuable that is. I don't know. I think the problem is, at least in a commercial setting, is that many of the users have trouble even installing the stuff themselves because they don't have the rights to do it.
Right, but ironically, most can run a virtual machine.
Yeah. So it could help in that case, but I don't know. I don't have any data. Yes. Any more questions? Anything? Sure. Which licensing do you mean now? Is that about the Qt different licenses for Qt, or is it about all the third-party attributions that you need to do in addition? Yes, and I think. And I think this is exactly one of the things that would also, I would also like to solve as part of the whole thing here. Right now, yeah, it's difficult. There is the licensing page on qtproject.org, which tells you some of the pieces, and then there's some other information on qtdigia.com, and as I said, it's not good that it's spread out over several places. So yes, I think this is going to be important that it's consistent in there, and it's part of the whole story. But at the same time, it's hard. Right now, for QtProject.org, I think it's almost impossible, and for Digia, it's also a little bit difficult to give detailed, legal advice. We can, you can give an interpretation of the LGPL and the licensing and restrictions you have, but some of the things have not been tested in court, so it's hard to say really. So, and we. It is a legal question, honestly.
If your business depends on that, get a lawyer. You get your own lawyer. I mean, that's the only responsible thing to say.
No, it is really that way. I mean, the problem is, we cannot, give, free legal advice to anybody asking there just because of potential liability issues afterwards. So the advice we have to give them is get your own lawyer to understand what this is about. It's a complex license. It's not, unfortunately, not that easy. Yes?
And the price of the license with the lawyer.
Can you speak up? Sorry. Yeah, I know. Which makes basically firstly the whole thing LGPL, right? Yes. Sorry. Yeah, it just feels weird to stand behind this thing the whole time. I would prefer walking around, but so the question was about Threadweaver in Qt 3D, which is LGPL only. That currently makes all of Qt 3D LGPL. I've been talking to Sean about this, and consensus so far has been that it's limited to very little, few places inside Qt 3D and a few hooks, so we can replace it. And it's either then that Digia will, people from Digia might replace it with another backend that doesn't have an LGPL dependency, or we'll have to figure out how we handle this. Right now, it was necessary to just to get the development forward. I'd like to get rid of that dependency again, but that's something we'll have to see how to do. Harry.
Could you show that mock-up of the products page again? I was interested what kind of licensing and pricing options were offered there. So is there like a €0 offer somewhere?
There's the open source offer in there.
Okay.
This, on the right-hand side, open source, free.
Okay.
And download. Just download it. But as I said, many of these things are currently still up for discussions. We're discussing them right now, and we wanted to use this opportunity here, the Contributor Summit, to open up the discussion with all of you to, really see, what are your thoughts about it? Do you think this is a positive thing, moving into the right direction? What kind of things should we do so it's really positive? What kind of concerns do you have? And I think it's important that you, voice the concerns you have, and also give, ideally also all the good feedback about things you like about this. And, please give them to me and to Tuka over there. Tuka, raise your hand so everybody sees you, and talk to us about that. I think, if we have a few more questions, we can take a few more here in the plenum afterwards. We're available for talking, and I think we might also want to, I don't know if we should have is there a wish to have a separate session about this somewhere at the Contributor Summit? Who would be interested? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6, 7. Yeah, well, let's set something up. Or we could use your...
Basically, use the QtProject.org for that tomorrow morning.
Okay, tomorrow morning, QtProject.org. That's the session. But if there's any questions, feel free, please grab us also in private then. But let's take another one here.
Regarding the open source version, will there be an option for the company to decide, we want to be back with our Digia without actually deciding to use the commercial license? you have this possibility to become like a partner or a patron with just like give money or actually getting the license, you know?
Might be. I mean, you could also just get a few licenses per former. That also would give money. But yeah, this is something I have actually also. I think it's also tomorrow a session about what we call the Qt Foundation, where we wanted to discuss some of these things which are related also to the hosting environment of what we have now, all the infrastructure we need for the contribution for Qt that's currently on Qt project. All of these things. What do we want to do with that? What kind of other opportunities would there be? Also, and how big the. So there's a session for that. I think it's tomorrow afternoon. Is it today?
Yeah, the second to last session.
Oh, I thought it was tomorrow. Okay, then it's today.
Today. Yeah, there's also a session tomorrow talking about community sponsorship issues, how to proposals for how to sponsor people that like travel to events like this or other events. How small companies can be involved in sponsoring parts of the community and just getting involved that way. So there's options there that people can talk about.
Yep. Okay. I think then, I'd say thank you. Thank you especially for all of you for all your good work and the hard work over the last year. It's great fun to see Qt projects strive and move forward, and all the bringing that product forward. I mean, I think it's moving very well and it's looking great, and I'm really happy to see how things have evolved. So thank you very much for that. As I said, I mean, I'm available throughout the whole days for discussions. Grab me, grab others, anybody else you need, and I hope you'll all enjoy the Contributor Summit here. I think there's lots of really great sessions waiting for us, and so let's now have some coffee and get going with the sessions. Thank you.